Okay, today is our first day of virtual learning. So how this is going to work, there's a file with a smartboard. It's a PDF file. In addition to these videos, the videos will cover 4 days of lessons. You can watch the video and work along with the smartboard, or you can just do the smartboard as you go on a piece of paper. The best thing to do would be to keep your paper together in a folder or in your notebook so you have everything for the week. Here is the warm-up for Monday. Go ahead and pause the tape while you work and go to the next slide when you're ready to see the answers. Okay, number 1 says the ratio of calories to fat in a candy bar is 10:6. You can see that we set up the ticket. We know there's 10 calories for 6 grams of fat. We also know that there are 60 grams of fat. So in our ticket, we put the 60 with the fat. Well, we know to go from 6 to 60, it is times 10. 10 times 10 gives us 100 calories. Number 2, Jerome's bowling average J is at or above the league average of 100. So we know that Jerome bowled 100 or more. So 100, 102, 105, 120. His score must be at or above 100. So it's greater than or equal to 100. Number 3, definitely would use a calculator for this. It says which integer should be added to -9 to get a sum of 0. Well, -9 plus -9 is -18. -9 plus 0 is -9. -9 plus 5 is -4. And -9 plus +9 is 0. That's what you're looking for. The strategy all week for number 3 is to use your calculator. Number 4, the figure shown below is a square. Determine the area of the shaded region. Well, looking at this, I see a couple things. I see it's a square, which means every side is the same. I also see that the shaded portion is a triangle. To find the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 times base times height. So 1/2 times 10 times 10 gives you 50. The daily dose for this week is integers. As you move right on the number line, numbers increase in value. As you move left on the number line, numbers decrease in value. So here are 3 problems. Go ahead and pause the tape now and answer them. Okay, when we order these from least to greatest, that means we're starting from far down and increasing in value. The least value we see is -8, then -7, then -3, then 0, then +4. Number 2, which of the following numbers is located between -9 and -4? Well, the good thing is we have a number line to help us. So we're looking for something that is between -9 and -4 on the number line. Something must fall in that range. So as we look at this, there's actually a couple of them that fall in there. -4.5 is right here, so answer choice A will work. -6.5 is right here, answer choice B would work. -9.5 is out here, so that won't work, and -3 also will not work. So both A and B fall in that range. And number 3, which of the following integers represents the greatest number? The greatest number, we're looking for the number that is furthest to the right on the number line, because as we go to the right on the number line, they increase in value, and that is C, -1. Okay, the question that we're going to be looking at this week is how can the median, mean, and range be determined from a data set? So on the PDF and in front of you is a link to a BrainPop video. You can go to brainpop.com and just Google mean, median, mode, and range or probability, and it'll come up. The username is BaltCops. The password is BrainPop. Go ahead and watch the video on BrainPop and then continue when you're finished. Today, we are going to be looking for the mean, which is a synonym for average. The mean is the average of the numbers in a data set, and every data set has a mean. This is something you want in your notebook. When you talk about in basketball, players have a points per game. This is the average number of points they score per game. Your grade is also an average. Your teachers take all of your grades for that quarter, add them up, and divide by how many grades there are to find your grade for that quarter. And here's how you find it. It's a very simple process. You add all the data values together, and then you divide that total by the amount of data values in the set. So here we go. 2 students went bowling and their scores are shown below. Determine the mean for each student. So you see Mike has bowled 4 games. In game 1, he bowled a 143, then he bowled a 163, then he bowled a 120, then he bowled a 150. To find the mean, you would add up Mike's 4 scores. So 143 plus 163 plus 120 plus 150. When you add those scores up on a calculator, you see that he scored a total number of points. Once you have that total number of points, you'll divide it by 4 because he bowled a total of 4 games. Pause the tape now and calculate his mean. Added up Mike's scores, you should see that he scored a total of 576 pins, but that's not his average. His average is 576 divided by 4 because there was 4 total games. And when you do 576 divided by 4, you see he averaged 144 pins. If we needed to find Shelly's average or mean score, we would add up her games. So we'd add this plus this plus this plus this. When we do that, we'll see that Shelly knocked down a total of 521 pins. When we divide 521 by 4, because she bowled 4 games, we see Shelly had an average of 130.2 pins that she knocked down. Okay, this is a fairly simple process here. There's just 3 other examples. To find the mean of the first data set, we added those 5 numbers up, and when you add those 5 numbers, you get a total of 120. 120 divided by 5, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in this data set, gives you an average of 24. The second set, we add those 4 numbers up, and it is a sum of 552 divided by 4 gives us 138. In the last data set, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. When we add those up, we get 100.03 divided by 5 because there are 5 numbers in that data set, and it gives us a mean of 20.006. Doing this with fractions or decimals or even negative numbers is the same process. You add up the total numbers and divide. Okay, on your own, go ahead and try this problem now. Pause the tape. Okay, we're trying to see which student had the higher average in points per game, which means we need to calculate the average for both Nico and Caleb. The first thing I'm going to do is add up Nico's scores. And when I add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers, I see that Nico had an average of 19.28. I added the 7 numbers and then I divided by 7. Caleb's average, I added up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His points from those 7 games, I divided by 7, and I see Caleb had an average of 28 points per game. So when I start thinking about what this means, which student had the higher average points per game, well, Caleb had the higher average. His average was 28. Nico's average was only 19. Okay, so this is a little bit different, but we have the same idea. This shows 14 students and the number of push-ups that they did. Looking at this graph, we see that one student did 30 push-ups, one did 31 push-ups, a number of students did 32 push-ups, a number of students did 35 push-ups. So if we're looking for the average here, we still need to find the sum of all of those data values, and in this case we're going to divide by 14 because this represents 14 student scores. It's a little bit more time consuming here because we actually have to add up 30 plus 31 plus 32 plus 32 plus 32 plus 32 plus 33 plus 33 plus 34 plus 35, 35, 35, 35, 35. So to find this average, we add all of those numbers up. And when we do that, we get a total of 464 push-ups divided by the 14 people that did the push-ups means that on average, a student was able to do 33.14 push-ups. The next slide looks similar, shows the height of toddlers at a daycare. Go ahead and pause the tape and try to find the average height in centimeters by the toddlers at this daycare. Okay, as you work this out, you should see that there is a total of 1174 centimeters, 1,174. Well, in this case, it doesn't necessarily tell us how many total toddlers there were, so we have to figure it out by counting the number of dots we see. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 1. So in order to find the average for this height, we are going to have to take the total divided by 15, which gives us an average of 78.2. When I look at this, though, I say, wait a second, 78.2, that doesn't make any sense because there wasn't even anybody in the 70s. So something must have gone wrong. Either I miscounted the dots, or when I added, I forgot something. So pause the tape now and see what the mistake was. So hopefully you added those up and saw that it actually was 1,259, the sum there. It was not 1,174, giving you an actual average of 83.93. And that answer makes a lot more sense because the average score should be somewhere in this area because we have 5 scores that were more than 84 and 5 scores that were less than 84. So our average should be somewhere right around 84. Okay, here's the bit.ly for today. Go ahead and start your work on Monday's lesson.